What up, y'all? Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Video Game Replays. My name is Aidan. Joining us is our co-host CJ.
Hey, in the house, watch this, Larry. That
Yep,
way.
Oh,
got
bam.
it right.
Oh, snap. Look at that. Got it that way. Hey, CJ. Hey, Aiden. How you doing? It's good to see you. Hey?
I'll doing
Pretty
pretty
good, pretty
good.
good.
The game of the week. We have a game that good game. Larry picked out for me. I don't. This is our last round. Previous rounds, CJ picked out Metroid for Larry. I picked out Gargoyle's Quest for CJ, and Larry picked out Golgo 13, the secret episode for me. So, the little overview here, the release date is September 1988. Publisher by Vic Tokai. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Uh, it's
Sounds right.
it's like an action adventure platformer type of game. It's based off of an anime, which is actually, or a manga, which is actually very old. I'm pretty sure like it came out in like the 60s, 70s. But it's an action adventure game based off the Japanese manga Golgo 13, starring Duke Togo, a silent deadly assassin. He was he was framed for destroying a helicopter carrying a deadly virus. Now he's hunted by the CIA, the KGB, and he must clear his name, uncover the truth, and stop this global threat. So, we got first impressions, we got the background of the game. See, what's your first impression of a Golgo 13?
To be completely honest, until I played it, I heard old manga, old anime, Golgo 13, bro. I was thinking like some Dragon Ball shit. So I was pretty taken aback when it wasn't some Dragon Ball shit. Not really familiar with Dragon Ball, but I think I was thinking of Trunks maybe when I heard this. So I think that's just, I don't know. Um,
Okay.
so it definitely caught me off guard. Yeah, right. Thought it would be a little bit different. But the plot though, the plot is interesting still. Don't let me don't let me sell you short just because I was confused. Um, the plot was interesting. They hit you in the face with a cutscene and give you the plot beforehand. You're not just dropped in the world doing stuff, so that's kind of nice. But seems like they were building up for a good plot, so that's kind of first impressions without diving into really what I got into and how I felt about all of it. But we thought it was gonna be more like Dragon Ball at first.
Yeah, first impressions, Larry, what you got?
Like I said, I recall seeing this played. I've never really sat down and played it myself, so it's the first time I played it. Um, I've got mixed feelings. Like I said, I had intentions of giving you something that hopefully was going to be a good game. Um, and I still think it was a fairly decent game. Just again, not what I was hoping I was handing to you, but all in all, not bad. I think it was all right. Like I said, I wanted to give you something I knew that might spark your intrigue. I knew it was a manga, which I know you're into that kind of stuff. But I think the end game of it at the moment is I gave you something that had a pretty rich story, which hopefully I think you like. But myself, I'm I'm okay with it. I'm kind of happy that it turned out at least far as I got into it, where I got. But how about you? What was your first impression of this new thing?
First impressions, like you, I have mixed feelings. I had no clue what I was going into it. I had no clue what it was like. I've heard of Golgo 13 before, just because it's like I think it's one of the longest running manga and anime or something like that.
Hmm.
It's like
Yeah,
extremely
it's like
popular.
70 years, isn't it?
Yeah, there's like a lot of movies and
Yeah.
anime stuff made about it. Uh, but yeah, first impressions, I did not really have any expectations once I loaded up. I thought it was a platformer. I like how you kind of like switch from a bunch of different things. I feel like that gave the game more depth. Like you're scuba diving, you're flying a helicopter, you're shooting things from a helicopter. It's like it definitely gives the game more depth, and it's not just your action platformer style. You got a little bit more to it. But I definitely have mixed opinions, and we're gonna get into them here soon. Uh, Speaking of mixed opinions, do you have any strong opinions on the graphics?
Strong opinions or good opinions?
Any opinions?
Yeah, not very good. Not a fan. Not much detail. Fucking the especially on stage one, what really pissed me off, and I was like, maybe it's just stage one. Sometimes games do this. Continued for me on most of the stages. Dude, I could not tell. I'm walking towards somebody and I'm shooting at them and they don't die because it's a friendly person. I'm like, okay, so the next person I see, I'm not shooting at, and guess what? They're shooting me. It pissed me off, and I hated that because they literally looked identical. There was some funny things later on. I wrote the names down somewhere, but of the actual characters. But they kind of looked funny. Some of the people. The first girl you run into looked like Princess Bubblegum from Adventure Time. Don't know why she was so pink. Um, Oz Windham looked just like Hitler in his character model. Thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
And there was a girl that looked like Ronald the Clown. And what was the other one? There was one guy, I can't remember the name, but when he walked up, it's a white character model, and then when he reads his dialogue, he's a black character. Kind of confusing. What was his name? Spartacus. His name was Spartacus. Kind of confusing, but overall the graphics did not really do anything for me with my faceless character model, to tell you the truth. Did not love what the game looked like personally. That's where I
Yeah,
sit with it.
I can kind of agree with that. I think at one point you did actually have a book with a no Kanye symbol on it. You had a book with a whole old German 1940s symbol on it.
It's a Buddhist symbol. Buddhist symbol.
Oh yeah, of the Buddhist symbol. I forgot. It just
Yeah.
happened to also be a guy that looked like Hitler. He was a Buddhist, okay. But yeah, I agree with what you said. The graphics weren't great. The character models, it definitely felt kind of stiff, especially like your kicking and walking animations and the people coming at you. Everything felt stiff. On like the basic levels where you're walking, it's kind of like repeated building design with a blue background. Not a whole lot of in depth there. I liked the switches between. I like the graphics and levels, and you can tell the levels are switched. You're on a helicopter, scuba diving. Obviously, the scuba diving wasn't no Mario scuba diving. Wasn't crazy in depth, but yeah, I feel like the graphics did leave a little bit to be desired. Larry, do you feel similarly or?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what starts the problem I have with the game, or at least the mixed feelings that I had. Because the overworld, the basic playthrough, the characters are very basic, and the backgrounds and the boards are just terrible. Um, I mean, I you know what things are. It's a person, it's a motorcycle, it's a helicopter, but
That's the
I mean,
extent.
it's two steps above being freaking an Atari almost. I mean, to some degree. The
Yeah.
the only details you get is when Duke is like walks into a building, he's like, and for those on audio, he just gives you a straight face and turns around and looks at some person who walks in, and then they have a conversation. But yeah, they I'm glad that they passed their class on graphics 101. Decided to go make a video game for this, but graphics was not the strong point of this at all. So,
And I
I
want to
mean,
say
that's
I want to give it an excuse for the time it was released, but I mean, you have even Metroid was better than this, and it was before that,
Contra.
the original Mega Man looked better than that, and Contra, and these were both around the same time, so I can't really give them the
Yeah.
excuse
well,
in the
hell,
time period.
Super
even
Mario
the
2.
original Mario Brothers seemed to have more going on than this really did. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
graphics wise,
I couldn't agree more.
I'm with you.
Another category that mixed feelings on, the soundtrack, the music, the sound design. Larry, you got any opinions on that?
I now I hold this a little bit higher than I did with the graphics. I really did dig the spy type of music.
Hmm.
It tried to give you that little espionage kind of feel to it, and basics of a gun shooting and those kind of things. I honestly don't recall if the motorcycles made any noise. Um, well, I mean, it's not bad. They made a better effort, I think, than they did with the graphics. And I mean, I guess just even to hit the graphics and complain about it a little bit more, we're talking about a manga slash anime, and being a Westerner. When you think of that, you think of really good detailed
Hmm.
artistry, and that didn't shine. Like I say, to some degree, I think it made the music better because the graphics were so bad. I mean, I don't know, but that's kind of how I felt with that part of it. So audio, not bad, but I did like the spy music. It gave me that very espionage spy feel. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I agree. I think I definitely feel like it helped with the atmosphere and feeling that you were a spy. Some of the I re-listened to the some of the music on YouTube. And definitely some of it felt a little annoying and a little overbearing, but it's not nearly as bad as the graphics. I feel like the music had some bangers in there. Not a ton of memorable tracks, but it had some. I don't think the sound design was horrible either. Uh, there was a couple which I remember being annoying when I was listening to it. When I was actually playing the game, I remember being
Yeah.
annoyed. But overall, I don't think the soundtrack was that horrible. See, you agree
No.
or you got something different?
You've used three words in this podcast that sum up the music for me. One was in the graphics, two were just in the soundtrack. Now that I just said that, I don't remember any of them. Much similar to how I feel about the soundtrack. Not a lot stuck. I thought to myself, damn, I need to give this, like, I need to pay attention to it a little more so I can give an opinion. It felt repetitive. It felt more annoying than it did good to me. I would have been fine with just the sounds of the game. The gun sounds were really nice though. Give them props there. Nostalgic. It was perfect. It's a 1988 gun sound. That was fun. And the shoot 'em up sideways scenes, gun noises were cool. But I mean, mm, I did write down some choice words just to make sure that I said them. I personally thought the main song sounded like a car idling slash somebody just shitting in the mic. So I did have that written down. Wanted to be sure to shout that out. I did not enjoy it. Glad they made good gun noises, but this soundtrack might as well have not existed in my opinion. To tell you
And
the
I
truth,
and
it
I
could
will
have just
say,
been else.
this play it's not an incredibly long game, but if you go through the soundtrack, I believe on YouTube, and this isn't even like the sound effect noises. I believe there was 23 different songs in this game.
There's no way.
That's
There's
that's
no
what I
Oh
way.
saw,
wow.
and I feel like this just focuses even more on uh, it's a thing for games should focus on quality over quantity. Uh, focus on quality and not just a ton of different songs. Because I mean,
Did they
even
change a
listening
few
through
notes
them,
of the parts?
yeah, a lot of them sounded very similar.
Yeah.
It had to, because I would have gave it 3.
I would have said five max. Maybe I didn't hear a
Yeah,
couple. Yeah, no.
that's what I was thinking. But I clicked on the YouTube playlist and it was 23 songs. So I was like, oh my god.
Oh
Okay.
wow.
Well, A for effort, I guess, but shit.
Yeah, for real. We'll go. Before we've said a lot of negative things. Let's go to the most negative thing. Do we have do we have a least favorite part of the game? Something that stuck out even more than the soundtrack and or was it the soundtrack? What is your least favorite thing that you found when you played this game? C.
It just felt bland. There was at one point I also wanted to specifically. I normally take a little notes on the side. This is one I definitely wanted to point out. There was one point where I thought my suit changed from black to blue, and then I realized later it never did. I just never noticed that my suit was black. It just, and I know it sounds stupid and like a me thing. It was that bland in a way. I was like excited. I thought something happened. It's just because I went from a black screen to seeing my guy in a blue suit. Um, just the lack of detail. It couldn't pull me in. The not being able to tell enemies apart from friendlies really pissed me off. The motorcycle dudes were annoying. The helicopter and swimming scenes, cool that they had the variety. I think they sucked though. I didn't like it when I was shooting during the helicopter scene. It was kind of being weird and glitchy. I don't know if it was just a me thing. The swimming scenes, the movement was not. It was also subpar. I felt like, why are you sending something at me at 90 miles an hour when I can only go 20? Like I felt like I couldn't just avoid stuff in both of those kind of scenes. And still again the Spartacus guy. Why was he white as he walked in the room, but instantly a black male after he started talking that looked nothing like his character model? But it just overall to sum it up, just a lack of detail just kills it for me. It felt like you got a successful anime manga
Yeah.
kind of thing. You threw it on a game. And I think this should have been a coin game and leave it at that. It might have been at some point just an arcade game, dude, just a cabinet game. Put in a coin. That to me, it felt more like that than it did in an NES game. I wasn't impressed, especially with the time period. Just yes, it's early Nintendo kind of, but like
Kinda.
ish. But I mean, I don't know. You just have better games to play that same year. Um, Larry, I know you mentioned before the one shop where you could go get kind of discounted games and stuff.
Yeah.
I have it on a sticky note somewhere. I said this is a staple at every one of those shops across the country. I guarantee it. So that's really how I felt about it. If you want to know the truth.
Yeah, I like something you said there. I was actually going to say it in my answer as well. It definitely. I'm saying a lot of negative things about this game. Sorry, Larry. It's the game you recommended me. I'm just giving my honest opinion. It definitely felt like, oh, this is a culturally popular figure. Golgo 13, very popular, very classic guy. Let's just pump out a game about him, and they didn't put a whole lot of thought into it. And I gotta say, I mean, you have a lack of great soundtracks. The design definitely lacked. Uh, I didn't enjoy. I think I agree with CJ. My least favorite thing has to be just the lack of attention to detail in most of the things in this game. I like the variety. That's probably one of the things I liked. I liked the variety of different things. It wasn't just a platformer. You have like you have the shooting where you're scoped in. You have a helicopter. You have the scuba. You have the mazes. I like the variety. I do, but I felt like if I want to say like I don't want to say like take out a couple of those and just put more detail into other things, but I almost don't agree with that. I feel like you should have kept the other things in, but just paid more attention to the detail in those other modes and scenes and stuff. It's like the helicopter scene. Actually, that was one of my favorite types of things in the game. I actually like the helicopter. But the scuba seemed bland. Walking, just the platforming with people coming at you seemed bland. Not not a whole lot of things I feel like done completely right. I want to say not a whole lot of done right. Larry, do you have any other opinions, or you think the same thing we do?
I do think it has a level of blandness to it, which I don't disagree with you guys at all on. We'll start off again with the things I hated myself. I did hate the fact that you couldn't tell who was attacking you, who wasn't, and usually by the time you can tell they're attacking you, they've already shot you twice.
Hmm.
The motorcycles things sucked, was terrible. Um, you guys both brought up the swimming and the helicopter part, which again, great that you've added something different to this.
Hmm.
Hated the fact you couldn't tell that you were actually shooting anything. Um, I'm thinking like the B2 looking or the stealth looking bomber that they put in there. You sit there and unload on it. Never once did it give you an idea that you're actually doing anything to it until it finally just blew up.
Yeah,
Um,
the detail.
I think that this intention was good, but every bit of it executed awfully. And
Yes.
I'll apologize out front. Like I said that I suggested this for you, but my intentions were good.
Yeah.
Because when we get to the things we like, I think I can justify why I was trying to do it. But game developing wise, which was it Vic? Uh, can't think of the name.
Toki, Toki,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Vic
Vic
Toki. Vic
Tokai.
Tokai. Tokai.
Tokai,
Is
To-
that the same guy who actually created this or something? Or I don't know if it's a company, but um, man, they are not. They should not be in the business of making video games, which I'm pretty sure at this point they are not. But yeah, graphics were terrible. Like I say, the sound I think was just heightened because the graphics were so terrible. Um, Gameplay really wasn't good either. Really, when you get down to it, I mean, control, jumping.
yeah,
Um, there's the one level where you have to go to the place past the Parthenon or something to go in there to talk
yeah,
to somebody with those damn flamethrower guys. That was hard as fuck for no reason.
for no reason.
Um, and I mean, it just didn't feel good to play, and that's terrible about it. I like I said, I apologize to you that I put you through that, but um, like I said, I think the things I did like, I think would be why I suggested this to you. So we'll stop at that.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I feel like the idea was good. They kind of like the spy movie based off the Japanese manga. the just the execution was just so poor. I like the variety
Mhm.
of you have the side scrolling and then you have a lot of the different like missions and areas. I like that idea. It's just the attention to detail just wasn't there. Everything felt bland. Uh,
Yeah.
well, we're talking about a lot of the negatives here, or there has been a ton of positives. But if you had to say something, what is your favorite part of the game? And I'm going to start out with myself this time. I think favorite part of the game. I think it has to be what I said before. Just the fact of you go you're platforming and then you're side scrolling and then you go and you have a completely different thing. And I like that. A lot of other Nintendo games, it's like a Felix the Cat. You're pretty much doing almost the whole thing the whole time. Almost the whole thing the whole time. Like you have a couple balloon levels, but other than that, it's very it's very similar the whole time. And that's how a lot of these games are. I kind of like how they're mixing it up. Like I said, if the execution was just better, I feel like this game could have been good. Uh, I want to say that's my favorite part of the game. I want to say I like the story. I tried reading it, but I watched a video. It is I tried watching a video on like explaining the story. It is like so like you have to have so much context and there's so much like it's kind of just like the story is kind of a mess. There's like
Mm.
and if like trying to determine the story through what the game actually gives you, it's like I watched a video and he was saying it's almost impossible to kind of say what this is. So I want to say I would enjoy the story, but I would even say it's like something like a Ninja Gaiden,
Mhm.
something that is story driven, but way less story
Yeah.
driven than this. I would even say that has a better story. I know this was the part that was supposed to be talking about the my favorite thing, but yeah, I would say the variety of style of different levels feel like was done well. See, do you think something different or?
Kind of similar. I did like the shoot 'em up side, like first person type of thing. That was cool. I didn't hate it. Helicopters pissed me off a little bit, but overall that part was fun. Kind of does lead me to, this probably would be a decent arcade game. Would it be the best? Would you be bragging about it to your friends? Probably not, but I don't think this would have been a bad arcade game. Um, I liked some of the zany characters that were totally kind of by accident. Like I said, we had Princess Bubblegum and Hitler in the game. Is I think overall it was kind of corny, which gave me the chuckle out of it, whether intentional or not. It just kind of felt 1980s spy, and it's super corny to me. But in a way, that's kind of where I did get my enjoyment. Is like, look at this dumbass, and then you walk into the subway station, you give him a little over the shoulder, and then nothing fucking happens. I'm kind of like, what? Like I'm laughing. So, really where my enjoyability came from, it was almost that it was bad. It's sad to say, but just the lack of what it was kind of made it funny. So in a way, the fact I could get a giggle, a chuckle out of it, the better part. I mean, the variety to give it something with a little more stick to it. I agree. The variety was a good idea. I specifically really like the shoot 'em up part better than the rest. But that's you know they tried with the story. I could agree with you there. I liked that they started out with a cutscene instead of dropping me in, but that's about me kind of
And
pulling
I,
teeth to get more.
and I want to say one quick thing that I forgot to mention, and like the least favorite part was anybody else confused after you get done with the first helicopter level? Was anyone else confused when you were aimed in on that tower? I was like, what the hell am I supposed to do here? I looked it up and I was like, I'm like aiming on this tower and it's like shaking all around, and like I was like, what am I supposed to do here? And I was looking around, but apparently you got to hold like the left and look all the way left, and there's a guy on a tower,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and you have to, and I was like, I still don't know what to do, and you have to like look at the guy, and eventually it like zooms in and shoot the guy automatically for you, which was kind of graphic for a kids NES game, but because there was like a blood
Yeah.
splatter. But yeah, I was
One
confused about
one
that.
other thing. You reminded me when you said tower. All I know is Duke here. He's no Nukem, but he was a Nukem with the ladies. That's all I know, dude. These
Oh
ladies
yeah,
were throwing themselves at him. Just come back to the hotel. It was funny, and then cut scene, and you see them probably what they're gonna call partying. You see the lights flicker and just their silhouettes just standing
which
there, basic. But
I believe I saw
you
something where
know
you
what
get
I'm
full HP for that too after that scene.
yeah. I
Yeah.
thought so, but I didn't want to write it down because I was like, maybe I'm just bugging. So yeah, you get replenished there.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. Duke
get
doesn't do nothing. He's like, "Hey, this is fun. I'm going to bed."
you get your health blown up, we could say. Your heart grows.
Absolutely. 3 sizes that day.
Larry, favorite part of the game. What did you like?
Well, I don't know. I was let's start here because you guys were talking some things. Did you guys beat it? Did you guys get that far?
I didn't fully
Nah.
beat it. I believe I made it
I think I
Act
made
8,
it
Okay.
to
maybe.
Act 5 or something.
I think Act 5, 6 is where I got to too. So okay, so we're at least in the kind of same neighborhood at least. Um, I made myself like say now, given I don't know, I tried to follow the story best I could. I felt like there was some shit in there that wasn't necessary. I want to say I thought the story is really what was driving this. Also, on the same token, like I said, I figured that's what would have caught Aiden's attention
Mm.
and why I suggested this. I remember that it didn't look very pretty. Um, I totally forgot that it played like it does. But I figured, like say, the story, the manga would have kind of just carried it through a lot of it, which is not impossible. You don't need great graphics to make a good game or a good story. But apparently, I blocked out the bad parts that totally just didn't work out. But um, I'm like you guys, the variety points for that to try to just mix it up. Um, I actually, I don't know why, but on the 3D first person thing, I don't know why, but once I figured out that you have to hit the action button, then push the direction of the bad guy is standing there, then hit it again. I don't know why, but I like the way that mechanic works out instead of trying to sloppy drag a target across the screen. I mean, just
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, it's basic, but sadly, that's one of the better mechanics that they put in the games. Like, I like what you guys did there. Do that again.
Agreed.
Um, and of course, yes, our hero Duke getting himself some, making headshots, and if you caught it in Greece, uh, yeah, it's in Greece, I think, or no, Rome. He goes back and at the beginning level, there's a pack of cigarettes. He picks it up, has a smoke break, and lights himself back up to 200 hit points again. I'm like, well, yeah, man, can't go wrong with 1980s, and smoking a cigarette's going to bring back every bit of life that you're missing.
Get,
Realistic.
getting headshots and giving face shots. It's
That's
at
what
the
I'm
same
saying.
time.
That's what I'm saying. Oh yeah, they should have put that on the box. It would have sold 1 million more copies,
Yeah.
Right?
especially for the 80s. Um, like I said, I enjoyed little bits of it. I I don't know. So we won't get into the closing of it, but I can't really describe it. But I think there was enough there that drove me. I am disappointed I didn't get further on it before we got to our review this week. I would have liked to have seen more, and that to me is, I think that's a little saying something. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say I like about it, but there's something in that I liked. There was enough that I wanted to know more about where we were going with this,
Mhm.
even though it was a struggle to get there.
Fair.
Well, there has not been a whole lot of positive thoughts towards this game so far in this episode. But final thoughts. What do we think about the game? Final thoughts. Would you recommend and would you play again? Or just final thoughts and what you would recommend to you? What do you think?
Final thoughts. I'll keep it short. Felt raw. Maybe a good cabinet game. Discount store staple. Masterpiece, if you will. Um, I'm not gonna recommend this to anybody unless I might do it jokingly and like tell my brother like, "Hey, good dude, like trust me, stick it out, like stick it out." It, yeah, it feels like a Shane Gillis prank. Like, just yeah, dude, trust me, dude. Like, yeah, just keep playing. Like, stick it. No, don't play this. Am I gonna play it again? No. If I had this in cartridge form, I might try to skip it across water. Um, you're not ever gonna see me playing this game again. I hated it. Masterpiece, not fun, unenjoyable. So
Yeah, I kind of agree. I feel like this whole time I was shitting on the game, but I was kind of trying to walk softly. I just don't feel like they did a whole lot of things
not
right.
I.
I like the fact that there's some variety in the style of play, but again, even when you were walking like kind of like a side scroller, it didn't felt smooth. It didn't felt good to shoot people. The kick when you jumped and shot at the same time you did a kick, that didn't feel smooth either. I didn't like the enemy design. I didn't like the board design. I didn't really like the soundtrack all that much. The story, I could see the story being good if you're someone that maybe if you really into the manga of Golgo 13, the story would probably be kick ass. I can't say a whole lot I love about it. Um, I like the helicopter, but I like the helicopter part. But again, I feel like there's a lot they could have done better to make that part better as well. This game, it felt like a cash grab for Golgo 13 when it released. It could have done so much more. It has potential. It has potential to be a good game, to be a good game. But as stands right now, I didn't love it. I probably wouldn't recommend it. And I probably wouldn't play it. That's simple. Larry, do you have any? I assume you're kind of gonna be on the same train we are. Are you gonna be a little more forgiving, or what's going on?
Um, Again, I'll start off with the sorry. I'll start off with the apology of like I said, I really had thoughts I was going to give you something a little bit better than what I recalled. Um, it hurts truthfully to know that this I don't know why it has a memory, but it's such a shitty game. Um, I can't argue with anything you've said. It plays bad, looks bad, sounds okay. I mean, it's I don't even know. Like I said, I don't want to shit on my own thing here, but after playing it for the week and going through it, it's not a good game. Period. I mean, that's just really what it is. Um, I'm sorry I recommended it. So would I recommend it again? Probably not, unless I go, I guess, 30 years and totally forgot what the hell it was I seen back in 1988. Um, I'm on the fence though, about whether or not I'm actually going to go back and finish this. Because it's one of those, I assume I'm about halfway through this, and I'm praying to God that the reason you play this is the way it ends. Um, I'm a little curious if Duke somehow clears his name. I'm actually curious, like if the virus was like spread across New York. I mean,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Valid.
Um, but now will I hardcore sit down after we're done with this and go at it? No. So, uh, 50-50 on whether I actually come back and finish it. But I guess at some point before we hit season 2, I'll let you know how that actually goes.
Well, your apology accepted for recommending it. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you.
But if you ever feel bad, I take that back. I'll never forgive you for this. But if you ever feel bad about your recommendation, just don't forget that in with the first pick of the third round, somebody willingly picked Felix the Cat. If you ever feeling bad, if you ever feeling down, just remember that thought in the back of your head. Out of all the
I'll do
NES
that.
games, I believe that was the seventh
Ditto.
pick of the draft, or the seventh pick of the draft. We picked Felix the Cat. So if you ever feel bad about that, just remember that.
Could have picked the punter, man. It'd been better.
Good pick, Tetris. Tetris might have been better.
Oh, it
Well,
is.
it's around that time of the video. We've not been saying a whole lot of praise, a lot of negatives going on here. We got to stick a number to it. Do we all have a
I
number
don't
in
want
our
to go
head?
first. Yeah, don't let me go first. Somebody
I
else
can
should
go
go
first.
first.
I kind of have a number in my
Please
head.
do.
This game was playable, so I'm not going to give it a 1 or anything like that. The game was playable. I'm thinking I'm going to 3.8 here. That's my number.
Oh.
I've honestly,
Okay.
I think I started started the podcast. I think it was like a 4.3, but I think I've gone down. Hearing your guys' opinions and be like, yeah, I kind of do agree with that. Larry, it seems like CJ is holding out his opinion. Do you share the same sentiment, or you got something different?
Um, well, I mean, like I say, the way I've rooted my thought, my way of really working this number, was it fun? It's this week has been hell at work. This week has been hell personally. Not awful hell, but working through it, getting through it, trying to struggle to get to today, and this itself has been more hell to get to where we got to on it. So, um, I've been writing about a 4, but like I say, as you got me convinced on it, I'll match you. I'll go with your 3.8 on that. again, like I said, I'll start out with a complete apology to think that, like I say, my memory was apparently golden and happy, but yeah, it's don't judge the fact that I'm, like I say, I'm maybe willing to go back and see what the end of this game looks like, because I know there's a walkthrough on YouTube that's probably just as rewarding.
I'm sure there's a
Um,
cult following for this game, so there might be a lot of
I don't doubt it.
enjoyers.
Don't doubt it. And I mean, I even look at it back in the classic idea of 1988, and boy, we must have been really effing bored for this to be great back then. So, 3.8. That's best I can do in 2025. See?
Well, I had a number in my head, like Aiden said, when we came into this, and I was hoping to back that number up. Now, when I think about things I enjoyed about this game, if I'm starting at 0 and building up, I didn't like shit about this game. Aiden said it was playable, but game's gotta be, or it's not a game. So this is genuinely the worst game I've ever played in my life, and I hated it. And I'm not giving it any, dude. I'm not giving it any points. It gets a fucking 0, dude. This game's fucking terrible. I swear to God, this is the worst. This is the worst form of video game I've ever played in my life.
Okay, that
I had to like, dude,
that's
this
a low
is
score.
awful.
That's the lowest score we've ever given. 0 might be the lowest
Let me-
score we're gonna have for a long time. It might be the lowest score.
Let me continue here.
It
bro.
is.
If the game would have been a bad cabinet game, and normally if it's a good cabinet game, you can find your way onto the console. This somehow found its way onto the console. It might have not even been a cabinet game. They skipped the trial factor, which apparently they much needed, and maybe they could have fixed the fucking game before it hit the NES. Look, I have 5 fingers up. Name 5 redeeming things. It was funny because it was bad. It was terribly accurate with the character models. Like, it was funny that it sounded like literal shit. You know what I mean? Like, well, how many points can I give it for these things? That's what I take away. So for me,
you're
I'm not
not
giving
gonna
it.
give it like a 0.2 for like the sex scene or something.
Yeah, I'll give it a 0.1 because Duke was crushing it. Yeah, I'll give it a
Yeah,
0.1.
Okay,
yeah.
0.1. Okay, we've
Yeah.
talked. Yeah, we still have some room to
Zero.
get a lower score in the future.
Yeah, a 0.1. Yeah,
Damn.
that's about. I just can't. I can't find anything redeeming here.
Well,
It's if
Damn.
It's just not good. It
Sorry.
still averages out to a 2.6, which is apparently just a bad game. I think you're crazy if you don't think it's terrible, but it's a bad game. That is our second
We-
bad game ever. And
we need
I
to go
would
back
like to
and
point out,
readjust the scale.
yeah.
yeah, I personally thought that after
was
seeing
there-
some 3.8s.
Was Felix the Cat our other bad game, or did we have a worse one?
Yeah, Felix the Cat was a average of no, wait, no, Felix the Cat wasn't. It was the Donkey Kong trilogy. That was 3.8. Yeah.
You know, we
But-
probably got a lot of people mad at us for that one. I feel like Donkey Kong trilogy for the
Hey,
NES definitely has a cult following.
Mad at y'all. Mad at y'all, not me. Not me. But speaking of, if you haven't, remembered everything like we do, like Larry obviously remembered that this game was better than it was. Not
Okay.
everybody's memory is great. So, Larry, if you wanna tell them how they can refresh their memory about how this season went, I think you should be our guest there.
Well, I guess this does wrap up our regular season. This brings us to the end of our draft and where we ended up. I mean, we're not gonna have no Super Bowlers, no playoffs, but we are gonna take the time to look back at it, see what we liked, what we didn't like, what we loved, what we learned, what we're going to take into the future. We're going to have a season 1 review next week. It's going to basically be a breakdown. It's going to be a little loose than what we normally do, but live some of the high points of what we've been into, and hope that you join us. And if you got some high points, please let us know what you think.
Oh yeah, and
Absolutely.
we got some announcements to make next week. Maybe a little VGR off season. I don't know. Stay tuned. We got some cool games, lots of extras coming over the summer. Just stay
Okay.
tuned. A lot of cool things coming up. A lot of cool things. See, where can everyone find us, and what should they do?
Probably should not play this game, but you can find us. Find us all the socials, the big ones, find us on Facebook, find us on Instagram, get interacting with us. I try to get in some pages and interact a little bit. So if you see that bright blue, beautiful logo and three beautiful faces, give us a follow. VGR Podcast. Go over to the YouTube, see our pretty faces talking about even some non NES games. We have a video that released last week. You need to go check out if you haven't. So big news there. Come send us an email, vgrpod@gmail.com. We want to hear more questions. We don't just want to talk about our last meals because I have a buffet order. And of course, your favorite audio listening platforms. Give us a listen. Tell Alexa to play us. She will. She'll do anything, including play us. So I have a Kanye lyric of the week
Uh,
that applies to this game,
oh
or maybe
shit.
more of a
It's eager.
saying. Kanye West would never release something this bad, so there is no quote of the week. There's
Wow.
nothing that Kanye's ever said in a song that is
Yeah, I was about to
released
say.
and that is as bad as this game.
I will say,
So
since there is a Hitler-like figure in a swastika, maybe off his most recent song, there might be a lyric you could say if you want to say it real quick. No, probably should not say that
I
on YouTube.
No, but
Probably should
we'd
not.
like to have a season 2.
Like to have a season 2 and not permanently banned. But we got big
No,
things
no.
coming up, guys. Just stay tuned. Big things coming up. Be aware. I mean, this is VGR Podcast. I'll see you guys later.
Later, peace.